Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys Podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and me and Andy are back.
It is Monday after the Super Bowl.
Monday after the Super Bowl. We were talking about the Super Bowl a little in the extra content. Talking a little bit about the commentator, Tom Brady was commentating. That was interesting. I knew he couldn't leave football.
How many Super Bowls you got to be at, Tom?
Seriously,
You
Tom,
just can't
stop
leave the
showing
Super
up at Super Bowls. It's like home to him now. It's like, the Super Bowl. It's like Christmas.
Yeah, it's like just coming home, hangs his coat up on.
Right? Now he's got his bed in the announcer booth. He can just live there.
His own mug.
He's fine. But yeah, regardless of who you liked in the Super Bowl, I think it was entertaining.
It was relatively good.
To say the least.
Yeah.
It was definitely something to talk about. Sorry for all you Chiefs fans, but let some other people win every now and then.
Yeah, no one needs a three-peat. Who needs three in a row?
Yeah, suck it, Kansas City. I'm kidding, guys. I know we love our Kansas City fans. I know you guys love your football because that's what happens when your team wins a lot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Carolina loves football too. When Cam was here and we were winning all the time, it's like, oh man, you couldn't not run into a football fan. Oh gosh, let your team lose for like 10 years straight, and you see how many Kansas City fans are left.
Yeah, right.
And those jerseys are going to be burned in the backyard, bro.
Yeah, you look at Carolina stands now.
Everybody's a good winner. That's all I'm saying.
We can't give these tickets away sometimes.
That's right. But guys, today, before we get started, I want to remind you guys that you can always catch these episodes early and ad-free on Patreon. Patreon.com/TrueCrimeGuys, where for just $3 a month, you can get early access to these episodes and hear all of me and Andy's bonus content before we even get started. We usually throw it at the end of the episode on Patreon. But it's just us warming up. We're talking a little bit about our lives. You get to know us a little bit better. It's a lot of fun. Again, that's patreon.com/truecrimeguys. But here on the free platform, you can also check out some of our other shows like Strange and Unexplained, wherever you listen to podcasts, and also Cryptic Soup with Thina and Kylie. They are new to TCG Productions. Cryptic Soup, you can find new episodes every single Wednesday, and make sure you give them a follow as well on Instagram so you know what cases are going to be covered at Cryptic Soup Pod. And all of this is linked right below the description of this episode. For everything, advertisers, sponsors, whatever else, all of our shows, you guys can find it below the description of this episode. And if you can't, check out truecrimeguys.com. And while you're on the phone, while you're on the old computer, the old Mac, whatever, follow us on social media for daily true crime reels and all types of posts and shenanigans and true crime news. Athena does a great job of keeping you guys up to date on our social media. So, join the conversation on there at True Crime Guys on all the medias. Facebook, the Gram, the X.
I just liked you specifying your Mac. Your Mac.
Get on your Apple PC.
Get on your Apple too, folks.
Get on your outdated Mac laptop like I do. I have a 2016 Mac laptop that's actually still trucking just fine.
I still got
that thing's still fast.
I think I have like a 2017 or 2018 MacBook Air or something like that.
Still trucking.
Works. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's an Air as well. Dude, they fucked up. They made them too good.
Right.
I don't even want to get a new laptop. I'm fine with this. Yeah.
I had like the last model of like the plain MacBook they ever made. And it lasted for way too long. And I remember like by the time I finally took it to Apple because it just wouldn't turn on anymore.
Yeah.
But by the time by the time it got to that point, I would plug it into charge and that thing would heat up to like 12 degrees Kelvin. Like that thing was like gonna melt through my lap.
Which is 120 degrees Fahrenheit if you guys don't know.
Like that thing was so goddamn hot, like just going right through me. And by the time I took it back to them and I was like, so this is happening and now it won't turn on anymore.
Right. I also have burns on my pants. Is this normal?
Yeah. All my pants have this black line across the lap.
Just right across the lap.
But they were like, yeah, we don't even make the parts for this anymore.
We don't even know how this is working.
They're like, what is this?
We tried to outdate this years ago.
We carbon date this? What the?
Yeah, just a paperweight?
It was like some 19-year-old at the Genius Bar just being like, what is this? I haven't seen one of these.
Is this vintage electronics? Does this play records?
Like, it's a MacBook, okay? I couldn't afford the Pro back then.
Is this an 8-track slot on the side of this? What is this? Yeah. But yeah, these Macs, they're tough computers. Mm-hmm. We're not getting paid to advertise for them or anything, but I like Macs here in the studio. I got a 2019 here, and this thing's still working great.
Hey,
and don't fix it if it ain't broken. That's what I say. But speaking of broken, we have a very broken, heartbreaking story today.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do, Michael.
I'll give you guys a little bit of insight about this. This case just got wrapped up here in 2024, at the end of 2024. It's still fairly new. Thina posted a little bit on our social media, and it's about Kevin Jiang. On February 6, 2021, Kevin Jiang, who was a 26-year-old Yale graduate and veteran, was with Zion Perry, his fiancée. They went hiking, ice fishing, and then went to dinner at Zion's house afterwards. Then around 8:30 p.m., Kevin was leaving her apartment and headed home, and he didn't even make it 2 blocks before he was struck from behind in a dark SUV in what appeared to be just a minor fender bender. So Kevin gets out of his car, he checks the damage and, exchange information like a good driver would. It's like, even if it's not your fault, right? We still got to have a conversation here. We got to see what's going on.
Yeah, check to see if they're okay.
But that decision ended up being the worst decision of his life.
The last one he ever made.
The last decision of his life. Let's put it that way. This case has been portrayed in the Ivy League Murder, which is now, it's a documentary by 48 Hours, if I'm not mistaken,
48
right?
hours, yeah.
It's 48 Hours documentary called The Ivy League Murder, and it is available on Paramount Plus. It's also available on YouTube. If you guys want to check this out, we'll link it right below the description of this episode in the sources. So definitely want to check out that documentary. If you have time, we used it as a main source for this episode. So, all right, Andy, I think that's pretty much it. I think we've teased it enough. I think we should roll that intro and let's get into it.
All right, Michael.
This is a quiet neighborhood in East Rock where many Yale students and employees live, but sadly now lies a memorial honoring the life of Kevin Jiang.
I'll always remember him as being a very just welcoming and wholesome individual. And he was very proud to be a part of the Yale community.
He gave me a lot of joy. He's a very thoughtful, warm boy, taking care of me. And I miss him.
Like you all said, he's a very charming, very friendly, very open.
Everyone who met him said that he was so they called him Jiggity Jang because he was so energetic all the time.
New Haven police say they are investigating why the deadly shooting took place, but they have reason to believe Jiang may have been targeted.
All right, Andy. So we're going to start on that fateful night. So it's February, it's 2021. Kevin's just been hit in the rear of his car, right? He steps outside his vehicle, and his surprise is met with immediate gunfire as the man in the dark SUV starts walking towards him, firing. Then as Kevin falls to the ground, the man is standing over Kevin, continuing to fire. Okay. Now, later on, all of this would be confirmed by eyewitnesses and a home surveillance video. And not all of it is caught within the frame, but is very obvious from the sounds and the gunshots exactly what occurred here.
Yeah, you see, like on the camera shot, you see it's like they try to zoom in as much as they can because the shot is from inside someone's home. So you see a lot of the window reflection.
Right.
But you see Kevin pull up, you see the other car pull up and lightly rear end him. Then that car backs up about 15 feet. Kevin turns on his flashers, gets out, walks over to the car, and he walks just off of the camera frame.
That's it. Just
and within
enough.
within a few seconds of him getting out of the frame, you hear 2 gunshots and a scream, and then 6 more gunshots. Like just very shortly afterwards.
And check this out, guys. All of the gunshot wounds were in the chest and head area.
Yeah.
So it's not like he shot him in the leg 2 times to knock him on the ground and then, no, these were all purposeful kill shots.
Yeah, the police even said they could see the gunpowder residue on his head.
That's how close he was.
Yeah, that's how close the gun was to his head, that they could see the gunpowder, like the gun residue.
On his face, on his head, yes. So after it was all said and done, as we mentioned, there were 8 spent shell casings lying near Kevin. They were .45 caliber, and they were very similar to some .45 caliber casings found at the scene of 4 other recent shootings in this area. More on this later. Now, locally, apparently a gunman had fired .45 caliber bullets into homes over the last several months, and in those cases, no one had been hurt. And like I said, they weren't able to find any connection between those cases at the time.
Only the 45 caliber
Only
shell
the 45
casings.
caliber casings. So like I said, just keep this in your mind. This will come up later.
And all those shootings apparently were, like I said, random.
Yes,
Like,
and no one was killed. No one was hit.
They were
right?
in random
they
parts of
seemed
town.
Unintentional, or they seemed intentional, but not intent to kill someone.
Yeah, it wasn't like a hail of bullets going through a home, like through a specific spot. It was literally almost like someone firing a few random shots into a home here.
Yep.
Moving on to another area a few days later, doing it again, doing it like this
It's
weird
like,
pattern, but nothing
why would
connected.
someone do that, right?
Yeah.
So more on that later. But at first glance, this incident looked like some type of road rage, maybe. At first glance, right?
At
You're
best,
thinking
best case, yeah.
Yeah, you're thinking maybe these two men had something going on down the road and it just came to a head.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But one of the detectives on the scene said it seemed a little bit more personal. He said, for instance, when you have someone lying on the ground and not moving, what would cause someone to continue to fire? That's what makes it seem like, more of a crime of passion.
Yeah, this
right?
look like
But you can't
self-defense.
label it as a crime of passion because it wasn't someone peaceful turned angry immediately. So that's going to be part of the discussion today. But police questioned the car accident. They thought, was this deliberate just to get Kevin out of the vehicle? Was all of this planned? And what did Kevin do to deserve this?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, to be shot in cold blood outside your car in February and left in the snow. That's insane, dude.
Yeah, and because apparently Kevin was a amazing person. We'll get into
Oh
it,
my
but like
God, yeah.
there was nothing the police could figure out. Like no ties to any questionable people, no like sketchy dealings. In his past.
The guy was like a storybook saint. I'm not even joking. Like I know. Only the good die young, right? People say that. Everybody who's a saint dies. Everybody who lights up a room. But in this instance, I feel like it really was true. This really was one of those cases. At the time of this attack, Kevin was living with his mother, whom he had moved from Seattle to live with him so he could take care of her. She was no longer able to live by herself. He didn't need her financially. She needed him, and he knew that, right? He also volunteered with the homeless. He was deeply religious, and he was a former lieutenant in the U.S. Army National Guard. Like, this guy was very accomplished.
Very
and
smart person, too.
Extremely
Like I
intelligent.
said, this guy is
Ivy League.
a Yale graduate student. Like
Exactly.
He is a very smart and capable person.
Absolutely. And just a week earlier, he had proposed to his fiancée, Zion Perry. And she posted on Facebook really close to the anniversary of their meeting, which was at a Christian retreat. But she posted this this proposal on Facebook very close to their anniversary.
And she posted not just an announcement, like they had the whole proposal caught on camera. Like
Proposal caught on camera, tons of happy pictures afterwards, the happy couple showing off the ring, all that, right? Being very loud, living their life on Facebook, which a lot of people do. That's not abnormal, and it's no reason to be killed.
Nope.
Jesus Christ. But all the police had at this point, other than speculation, was a vague image of a dark SUV from the surveillance footage. And police knew that they likely would need some type of break. And they actually got one the following day when they got a call from Sergeant Jeffrey Mills, of the North Haven Police. He had information about 2 different 911 calls that came in the same night as the murder. Okay? The first one came in about a half hour after Kevin's murder. A motorist had gotten stuck on a snow-covered railroad track outside of a scrap metal yard that he accidentally drove into, Andy. Huge quotes right here, air quotes, accidentally drove into. He said he was looking for a nearby highway entrance. Now, the police officer who responded to this motorist getting stuck on the tracks, he actually believed his excuse because this happened more than you thought. Okay, apparently this highway entrance was quite hard to find, I guess, especially in the snow.
Well, also apparently it was not uncommon for even the scrapyard owner said that people kind of go back to where this guy was a lot of times. He said he'll catch kids back there, like some kids will drive back there to hang out and stuff.
Right.
So he's like, it's not uncommon for me to see people drive through here or come in here and turn around.
Right.
But he's like, the car in question, the scrapyard owner actually called in because this car came in and he kind of came out to tell him like, hey, you got to get out. We're closed. And the guy started kind of going through the the scrapyard. He started kind of peeling through the scrapyard pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And this guy starts kind of chasing, the owner
He's
starts
like, whoa,
chasing
what are
him
you
through
doing?
there.
Get out of my scrapyard.
He's like, I'm just telling you, got to go. I'm not trying to do anything. But this guy starts speeding through. The owner chases him and calls the cops like, hey, this guy just sped through here.
Yeah. And now he's stuck on some tracks.
And he went through the back, and now he's stuck out back on the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Like, it's so... This was like a whole incident that was basically very avoidable. But yeah, this happened all the time to an extent. So the cop even says like, yeah, the guy was very calm. He was just like, I'm stuck on the tracks. I was just trying to turn around. I got lost.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought that was a security guard trying to, and it's like, why did you not just turn around?
Right.
Why did you
just
speed
turn around
through
and
the
go
back?
back out? Exactly.
He was very calm. And the cop said, yeah, this happens all the time apparently. So how can I help you?
Yeah. So this man that we're talking about, the man in question who made the horrible driving decisions, his name was Chin-Wan Pan. He's from Malden, Massachusetts. He had a clean record, and as Andy mentioned, he was calm, and he had a decent excuse, really, that he was looking for the highway. And all he had on him at the time was a yellow jacket, a blue bag with a Massachusetts logo on it, and a black briefcase. So the police officer offered to get Pan or Chin-Wan to a nearby hotel, right? He's like, let's get you out of the snow at least. It is snowing. It's freezing out here in February. Let's get you somewhere close. So he loaded up Chin-Wan as well as his yellow jacket, his blue bag, and his black briefcase into his car and took him to a nearby hotel. I believe it was a Best Western. Mm-hmm. Correct. So at the time, this officer was completely unaware that there had been a murder in New Haven. This was only 30 minutes ago the murder happened.
Yeah.
Okay? So he was unaware. Now, but about 15 hours later, at 11 a.m. on February 7th, there was another 911 call at an Arby's where employees found a blue bag with a Massachusetts logo on it containing a gun and a box of .45 caliber bullets.
Oh, not just a box. It was about 10 boxes. They find 3 bags with they find the briefcase bag, the blue bag, and the jacket. And there's I think there's 2 other white grocery bags, or plastic bags. But yeah, they bring them inside the Arby's, and the cops are looking at it, and it looks like a weird amount of boxes of ammunition.
Yeah.
And one .45 caliber handgun in a case.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's not just one box of ammo.
Yeah, he had quite a bit of ammo.
Yeah, even the person on the phone's like, there's 9 or 10 boxes of ammo.
Jeez.
And
I would have been like, no, there's no ammo with it.
It's
there's the gun.
There's 1 box of ammo.
I'd have been like, no, there's no ammo. I don't know what happened. I guess they just ditched the gun. But yeah, in addition to the logo and the box of 45 bullets, there was also a yellow jacket and a black briefcase nearby as well, Andy. Pretty damning.
And not only did they they lucked out, the same cop was the one who went back to the Arby's.
I mean, he's in that area. It makes perfect sense.
The cop who helped Pan the night before and took him to the Best Western was the same cop who showed up at the Arby's and was like, I know that bag.
I know that stuff. Well, he just had put that stuff in his car.
That's the stuff that was, I know that stuff. He's staying next door at the Best Western. He may still be there.
Exactly.
I know that guy.
And at this point, the New Haven police were more than suspicious of Pan, right? But when they checked the hotel, it turned out that Pan had checked into the hotel, but he never actually stayed there. There was no evidence that he ever used a room in any capacity. He was already gone. He was in the wind. And when they sent detectives to Malden, where his parents lived, no one was at home at all, not even his parents. So the New Haven police decide, let's jump on Facebook, let's see what we can find. Maybe we can find some information, find some type of connection. And when they look at Chin-Wan's Facebook, they find a very familiar name under his friends, and that name is Zion Perry.
Mm-hmm. And they realize, too, he's not a social person very quickly. When they look on Facebook, they look at social media, he has a post from 2016.
Oh, yeah. He's not sharing a lot. He's snooping on there.
Yeah, he has friends. He has one post, and then somebody tagged him in some posts here and there. Yeah. But
he's a Facebook lurker.
Yeah, he's a stalker, or he's a lurker on there.
He's a lurker, yeah.
They very quickly see Zion's name up there.
Yep. But Zion and Pan had met at a Christian group when Zion was an undergraduate at MIT. And although Perry was barely an acquaintance of Pan, she hadn't spoken to him since she left MIT. But the detectives felt this is more than a coincidence. This is a break. And now they had a suspect who was missing and a possible motive, which would be an obsession of some sort with Perry. Or maybe they had a little more going on than what led on, and he just couldn't let go.
Yeah.
Now, because after all, this murder did occur just 1 week after Perry had posted their engagement on Facebook. Weird coincidence, dude.
Yep.
Weird coincidence. Investigators believe that Pan was also responsible for the 4 other .45 caliber shootings that we were talking about earlier in the episode, and that the shootings were somehow all part of his plan, right, Andy? They theorized that they were done to mislead them when Kevin was eventually killed, to make them think that his death was just another idiot shooting off .45 caliber bullets into houses and cars, and they happened to strike him.
Yeah.
But there's a difference here, bro. All 8 bullets hit him.
Yeah,
This is a huge difference.
This is a murder. This is an execution in the street. It's
Yes.
not a stray bullet or two hit somebody.
Exactly.
And they very quickly, it's like when they start kind of putting that together, the police they come out and said, they're like, Pan he's a genius level intellect. Like
he could have done all this to plan.
Like he is very smart. He has not socially,
but then
he
leaves
is
his shit
very
outside
smart.
of an Arby's right next door. It's kind of astounding to me, like how you can go through such extensive planning, allegedly, but then go and make a stupid mistake, like leaving your stuff outside in visible area at an Arby's when no one was onto you at the time.
Well, we'll get to it at the same time. They do realize that the gun that's found outside the Arby's does not match with the murder weapon of Kevin. That's like the only piece of evidence in the long running trial. They don't have the actual murder weapon.
Right.
Because they find out that the gun that they found and all these 45 ammo bullets.
This was good planning. The fact that he bought multiple .45 pistols. Apparently, he had to have.
Yeah, because the one that they found did not match the shell casings that killed Kevin.
Right.
So like they figured out that he's very smart. He's an MIT graduate.
Yep.
This guy, they realized real quick, like I said, like they think he is a genius and he could have planned a lot of things beforehand. So
the need to catch him is just amped up even more. It's like the more they find out, the more they're like, oh shit, like what are we dealing with here? So
they
this
also
massive manhunt was undergoing, and it lasted 3 months.
Well, they also, at the beginning of it, they realize that because they go to his parents' house, nobody's home.
Yeah.
They think at first that maybe he kidnapped his parents, maybe he's taken them somewhere.
But
no,
what they did find, looking into his parents, is they found they got money. And
From
when you got money, now bigger entities start getting involved, like the U.S. Marshals, for instance, because they're going, okay, hold on, this guy's a flight risk. They have plenty of money.
And apparently it's all from Shanghai. Like
Yeah.
all their money's wrapped up in Shanghai still.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, they could dip. So, U.S. Marshals joined the fun when they learned that Pan's family had access to millions of dollars in assets. They worried that, like I said, he might be trying to flee the country. They noticed that Pan's parents had withdrawn large sums of cash and that they had taken a long trip south with their son right after the murder. But marshals eventually caught up to the parents in Georgia, and they were in their car. They found their car. They pulled them over. But guess who wasn't in the car, Andy? Freaking Pan. Because he had, according to the parents, he simply just got out of the car and walked away. Now, they're trying to allude, I think, from what I can understand, they're trying to allude to the fact that he walked away and committed suicide.
Yes, the parents
Like they're trying to say that without saying it.
Yeah, the parents are highly alluding that they tell this like kind of elaborate story of that, their son called them the night of the murder, said he needed help, and that they came and picked him up, and then he took over driving and they drove all the way down to Georgia, and he kind of just pulls the car over on the side of the road to an extent, and they tell them that he gets out of the car and just walks away kind of into the woods.
Yeah, not buying it, dude.
That like that's just so like the U.S. Marshals very
but what do you
quickly
expect
realize
the parents to say though?
Exactly,
I mean,
they very quickly realize they're like, okay, these parents, they're lying. They would lie for their son. They would go to jail for their son.
Absolutely.
And because like what parent, like they're like, what parent would just let their child who says they are in trouble, they need help,
and they're going to kill themselves, and you just let them go?
and they just drove you halfway down, like almost down the other side of the country, and then just pulled over and got out and walked into the woods, and then you just drove away?
No.
Like the U.S. Marshals are like, Okay, let's
Okay, we're gonna follow you guys.
put a pin in that one.
Yeah. So basically, what they decide is we're going to follow these parents and track them because we do know where they are, and we can keep tabs on them. And they knew that the parents would slip up eventually, and they did. A couple weeks later, their patience had paid off. Pan's mother, actually, while on another vacation, made a phone call from a hotel using a clerk's phone. Investigators who were following them quickly went into the hotel, talked to the clerk, and were able to trace the call, which led them right to Pan. He was at a boarding house in Alabama.
They had made several, like, up to this point, they were noticing they had made several large cash withdrawals.
Yep.
They were doing a few other things and making like several trips.
At the time when she made the call, his parents were actually on a vacation with another couple who had no idea what they were doing. I think they were just trying to make it seem like they were just living their lives, not that they were in hiding too.
Yeah.
I think they wanted it to feel like, no, we're fine. We don't feel like our son's done anything. He just left. But we're just living our lives, we're just having a vacation. Please stop bothering us. We're with friends.
Yeah, because it was just very,
like,
the U.S. Marshals are like,
nah.
so your son is wanted for murder and missing, and you're going to go on vacation?
Yeah.
It's a good time to
Good time
unwind?
to enjoy yourself.
Good time to unwind? Yeah.
Right?
All right.
And you're going to Georgia. It's like,
Why? Yeah.
I don't know. But around 20 armed officers showed up at the Alabama boarding house to escort him out. But they really didn't have to because he came out without a fuss and he confessed, I'm the guy you're looking for. You're damn right you are, Pan. And at the time of his arrest, Pan had on him $20,000 in cash, multiple communication devices, cell phones, different SIM cards, all kinds of shit, laptops. He had his father's passport, which was extremely damning, and that could also be seen as assisting a criminal, aiding and abetting from his father's and mother's standpoint, but more on that later. And he was charged with Kevin's murder. And with evidence like gunshot residue on the yellow jacket, not to mention his fingerprints on the gun that was found, even though the gun wasn't tied to the crime scene, it's still a lot of circumstantial evidence.
There was also one thing I forgot to even add to this. When I looked at this, they found Kevin's blood in the car that he rented. Like there was some of Kevin's blood splatter on like the jacket and on the like gear shift of the car. So Kevin had walked up to he got close enough to the car for him to basically shoot him out the window.
Right.
And then open the door really quickly to just stand over him and shoot him.
Gotcha.
So Kevin had gotten close enough to where the first shot got some of Kevin's blood into the car. So they were able to immediately say,
Kevin walked all the way up to his window.
Yeah, so they were able to be like, no, Kevin's blood is in the car that you were in, that you were stuck on the train tracks on that night.
Or he could have, shooting him, blood splatter could have gotten his hand and then his hand on the gear shift. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it could have
somehow.
happened that way as well.
But yeah, they were like, it's like they said, Kevin's blood was, Kevin was close enough to you that there was blood splatter on like the jacket and like in the car to an extent. So
Exactly.
Like, there's no denying this now.
No. And I think Pan knew this as well. So he actually took a plea deal, which he was sentenced in April of 2024, and he took 35 years in prison with a guilty plea.
And no chance of parole.
No chance of parole, but also no chance of life. He'll be 65 years old when he gets out, if he lives that long. Now, that's nothing to wave a stick at, but a lot of people are upset with that. They're like 35 years for cold, calculated, planned murder.
Yeah, and attempting to flee and escape.
Attempting to flee, everything.
Yeah, you tried to get away with this.
But when someone takes a plea deal, this is actually on par, right? It still has to be a large amount of years, but it can't be life, or else why would they take it?
The only time to ever take life is if the other option is death.
It's like, look, this guy's in his 30s. He's going to come out in his 60s. That's a lot to pay.
And he's a very smart person.
That's a huge piece of your life.
Oh, yeah. You're going to miss out the majority of your life. It's going to be behind bars.
Yeah. And somehow, at the end of this, Pan's parents were never charged with anything. Now,
It was because they could not prove that
what
they
knew. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying. It's all about the information that Pan gave them. And Jinwan was probably very cautious about what he told his parents. Very cautious what he put in text messages. Very cautious what he put in emails to not give specifics, because if you then do that, then you implicate your parents.
Yep.
Even on a phone call,
Yep.
right? You can't tell them specifics. So I'm sure he was pretty careful to not do that. And if you do that and your parents don't, I'm using quotes here, know for sure what you're doing, they can't be, I mean, they're your fucking parents. They're going to help you, right? If my child showed up and was like, Dad, I need your passport, please. I need it. Or I'm going to be killed or whatever. I'll be like, all right, shit, take it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. I mean, I'm your parent. I've vowed to protect you for your whole life. Like, I don't know. And I don't believe the parents are a danger to society.
No, I don't think the parents are a danger. I think the U.S. Marshals were very accurate. They're like, these are two parents who are willing to lie for their child to protect them.
Right.
Like, they may not know what
just like any other parent.
But at the same time, the Marshals basically said that like the parents were like not surprised when they told them that, you know, their son may have killed someone.
Yeah.
Like the parents apparently did not act shocked by that information.
Well, no, they've dealt with that already.
So they were like, okay, you guys are very clearly letting us know that you know this is that something's going on,
right?
But you may not know exactly what's going on.
Exactly. And you know, a lot of people, this is crazy with this case, but a lot of people believe that had Chinwon Pan not got stuck on those tracks, this case might not have been solved. We might not be talking about it right now. I mean, it's just some fucking karma, bro.
Yeah.
It really is. 30 minutes later, you get caught on some tracks that actually brings you down. He almost got away with it.
Yeah, he meticulously planned and prepped and tried to throw off and
because
do all these...
apparently New Haven police are already overwhelmed with crime, especially gun crime in the New Haven area. That's what I found out, right? A lot of reporters will tell you like New Haven is already overrun with crime. It's like, why did he have to go and make these 45 caliber shootings when there's probably plenty of 45 caliber crime going on around the city? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 45 caliber is usually just a bigger caliber of weapon.
But it's a popular caliber of weapon is what I'm getting at.
True.
A very popular, especially if someone who is looking to kill. That is stopping power.
Yeah.
45 caliber is stopping power all day. I don't care how big of a person you are. You know what I'm saying? So for people who are in the business where they need home protection or they need protection, period, or they're in the business of killing people, that's what they're going to use.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a very popular caliber. But Kevin's mother, spoke at this Pan's sentencing, saying that she felt that 35 years was too short a sentence for the man who killed her only son. But of course, you know, that's from a mother. And I agree. I think you take a life, especially a young life, Jesus. I mean, I don't know, any life, honestly. I feel like you should pay for it with yours.
Especially, I understand if it's like, a cold-blooded,
I don't mean to put to death, but you should spend the rest of your life in prison.
Yeah, a cold-blooded, calculated, premeditated murder. You don't get to just kind of like do your time and go away. It's like, no, you took somebody, you took the rest of somebody's life away from them. You shouldn't get to have the rest of your life free.
I agree.
It's like, there's always the exceptions for manslaughter, for accidental, for
right.
It's
That's
like,
different.
you accidentally take someone's life away. It's a punishment. You have to live with that.
Right.
But if you choose to take someone's life away, 35 years sometimes is not enough.
It's not. And I think the reason Pan got off so lightly is that the family, the friends, and then also Kevin himself, they were very religious. They were very forgiving people. A lot of Kevin's friends and family said that they had no doubt that Kevin would have forgiven Pan.
Yeah, Kevin himself would have forgiven him.
Kevin would have forgiven him. So the family feels more obligated because of how great a person Kevin was to forgive this man and move on. I mean, even Perry, she said, although your sentence is far less than you deserve, she said there is also mercy. May God have mercy on you and mercy on us all. Right? That's how she kind of ended the thing. And I think that sums it up very well. And like I said, I do believe Kevin, if Kevin's looking down from somewhere, if that's what you believe, then I feel like, he's forgiven his killer for this.
There was one thing I forgot to mention in the courtroom. There was a very telling part during the trial where they said when Pan came into the courtroom and they have to sit there for all the testimonies and all the speeches by the family.
Yeah.
They said Pan never looked up he looked at the floor the entire time until Zion stood up to spoke. when Zion, when his girlfriend stood up, that's the only time that Pan looked up and looked directly at her when she started to speak, and then looked back down. And they were
obsessed with her, dude.
They were like, yeah, it was her. You were secretly obsessed with this girl and killed because of it.
Yep. And I guess you thought what? In a few years she's gonna get over it, and then she'll be with you. Bro. What the fuck?
You'll swoop in to comfort her.
Imagine living with that woman knowing that you took the love of her life away.
There's sick people out there who can go right through that. So.
Oh my God, bro. No.
Yeah, like I said, he was planning on swooping in there and saving her afterwards.
I seen this one. I seen a comment on Reddit, and I was like, yeah, that's a great point. So many people are like, how can someone so intelligent, blah blah blah, and it's like they said, intelligence does not equate to emotional maturity.
No.
It does not. Those are two different things. You can be an absolute genius and have the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old. Mm-hmm. Like, it's absolutely true. And for some reason, Pan just never evolved past that. He never got past when he was in love with Zion or whatever it is. And it drove him to do this horrible act, dude.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
It's awful. But guys, that's the story of Kevin Jiang. It's sad. It's a short story, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Who knows what Kevin would have done in his lifetime? Oh my gosh, I'm like already an overachiever in just his 20s, in my opinion. Yale graduate, like you said, veteran, helps the homeless, homeowner, taking care of his mom, like just salt of the earth type of people. But guys, we thank you for listening. And we got to let you know about Oh My Gaia while you're here. I mean, before you head out, guys, it's something that will make your life a little bit better. Oh My Gaia, which is an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. And their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while still maintaining effectiveness. And there's tons of scents to choose from at Oh My Gaia, like vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle. There's tons of other scents to choose from at ohmygaia.com. That's ohmygaia.com. If you don't know where to start with True Crime Pine. Made for your true crime guys. You can't beat it. And because you're True Crime Guides listeners, you can use the code word Creepvan, CREEPVAN, no spaces, CREEPVAN, for 15% off your order. And that's at ohmygaia.com. ohmygaia.com. Make sure you enter that code word at checkout for 15% off. Also, give them a follow at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram for all kinds of news, updates, and special offers and new scents that are being added all the time. All right, guys, don't forget to check out Patreon. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, it's the best way to support this show. Patreon.com/truecrimeguys. You get early access to these episodes, ad-free with bonus content. But the main selling point is ad-free. God, there's ads everywhere now, Andy.
Oh, my God.
Ads on everything. I didn't realize that my Spotify premium account lapsed, and I went to listen to music, and I was like, what are these ads? What is this trash? Oh, my God, I just want to hear the music.
Just interrupting my time.
Yeah, seriously. But guys, thank you for supporting the show. TrueCrimeGuys.com for everything True Crime Guys. Give us a follow at True Crime Guys on social media. If you have case suggestions, you can DM us on social media, or you can hit us up at truecrimeguys@gmail.com, and we will get to those as soon as we can. All right, guys, but that's pretty much it for today's episode. Me and Andy will be back with you for another True Crime Guys case next week. But until then, I guess you just keep on creeping.
All right, bye.